How's it going, everyone? My name is Trev Barnes. Thank you so much for joining me for another video today. I don't believe I've shared this on the channel, but the past couple months, I have really gotten into composing cinematic orchestral music. I've never really had that much of an interest before, but there's something lately that I just have wanted to make this music. My long-term goal is to compose for film, TV, and games. So if you are an independent filmmaker, game developer, there's actually a form in the comments that you can fill out, and I'd be more than happy to compose for your project. I'm really starting to kind of break out as making music that doesn't really have limits. Like, I don't want to just be the indie pop guy. I really want to show you guys that as artists, we don't have boundaries. So it's a beautiful Saturday morning. Let's compose. I started this idea this morning. I went ahead and tracked it. It sounds like this. So just very soft and slow. So far this morning, I've added a cello to that. As well as these low pads. And everything you're hearing, and pretty much most of what you're going to be hearing today, is all from Spitfire Audio. For the piano, I am using the soft piano, which is included in Labs. For the cello, I'm using Cello Moods. And as I'm playing these, I kind of have to be careful with how long I hold the note out, because this patch is actually phrases. So if I hold down this F sharp, it plays a whole phrase that doesn't really go with what I'm doing. So I just got to make sure that I cut it off before it can play the rest of the phrase. And then these low pads are the synth strings, which just a bunch of high end rolled off. I've also added this spreader just to give it kind of some width, but everything together sounds like this. So I'm going to layer these low pads with this. So this is part of Spitfire Audio's original series, but they have all these different really well recorded orchestral sounds. Each pack is about, I believe, $30. So as far as what I use often, I have 3 different originals ones: cinematic percussion, epic brass and woodwind, and epic strings. Let's go ahead and drag this pad down. And what does this sound like? So it's going to start off with the very light piano, then the piano bottom is going to come in, then we're going to have the cello, and then the deep strings are going to come in here. And I think after that, we're going to break and switch it up and do something a little different. So I kind of want to add maybe some tune percussion here. Spitfire Audio also has this BBC Symphony Orchestra, which again is another amazing plugin. Each little different thing here is a different section of the orchestra. So you can just click and pick what you want. So I think maybe I'm going to go with a marimba. There's a lot of movement in the piano and the cello, so I don't really want to interfere. So maybe I'll just do like just something very simple that goes kind of along with the beat. A lot of time when I'm doing this as well, I don't really like to quantize anything. I just want to get them sounding like human beings are playing, and human beings don't really play perfectly on time. So I think leaving things unquantized and just getting it right from the source is really important for something like this. And by the way, I have no orchestral training or music theory background. I don't know anything about any of this stuff. I'm just trying to make things that sound nice to me. I think I'm going to double an octave down that same little melody. I think I'll add a glockenspiel as well, just to give it more of that impact, but I'm going to take a good bit of high end out. I think I'm also going to start adding a little more onto these deep strings here. So something that I did down here is I automated the expression of the big strings because they don't sound very natural when they're just there. Doing a nice slow buildup will kind of ease it in there. So on its own, it sounds like this. There it hits the peak. And in context with the song, it sounds like this. All right, so moving on, I'm going to add a new phrase to the piano. I think I'm going to add a high harmony to that. So I think during this part, I want to kind of build it up. All right, so we are going to load the short ostinato strings in Epic Strings, and that is what we are going to start the buildup with. Something really cool about this plugin is you have 3 different kind of microphone controls. Close just represents your close mics. Room obviously represents your room mics. And stretch, it's kind of odd. I'll let you hear what stretch sounds like. It's kind of like a reverb, but also like stretches the sample. It's odd, but it's cool. So I am going to quantize that just because I want it to be very sharp. Let's go ahead and add some higher ones as well. Ooh, my finger slipped, but that actually might be kind of cool. I also have a completely different melody I think I want to go to. All right, now I'm going to take this and literally just duplicate it an octave lower. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and add the bass layers. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and copy over my melody as well. And we're just going to blend those high strings with those solo cellos. So I'm actually going to freeze a couple tracks. So freezing a track basically records the track how it is, plays it over top of it so you're not using that plugin. In Logic, to freeze a track, we just go down to Track Header Components, click Freeze, select the tracks that we want to freeze. Once those are all chosen, we just hit the spacebar, and the playhead will play through the track, and congrats, those tracks are now frozen. So I'm actually going to change up the type of piano that I was using. And again, just to show you how much is actually in Labs, this is all the sounds and presets. And I don't even think I have all of them downloaded. There's just so much that you can use. But for now, I'm going to use the Autograph Grand. I don't even remember what the melody I played was. So I actually changed the piano up to this Glass Grand, and this is what it sounds like. I actually think it kind of fit the job a little better than the Autograph. All right, so I'm going to mess with my ostinato strings again and just start kind of creating some movement. All right, right, now I'm going to add a bass to that. Just kind of a one strike. Dun, dun, dun. I'll just play it instead of describing it. All right, so I just froze most of my tracks real quick, just so I can save on CPU because we are getting a little heavier. I think we're in deep need of a bass. So let's just add an electric bass. This is a stock preset in Logic called the Subby bass. All right, so now I'm going to add some percussion. I will say in the BBC Symphony Orchestra, I am not a big fan of the untuned percussion. I don't think that they recorded enough samples at different velocities for it to be as smooth as some of their other packs. I think it's great for separated strikes, but if you do strikes that are kind of in a row, I don't think they sound that great. For example, I'll just show you their snare drum real quick. If I hit it softer, it's still kind of hard. So doing them all in a row, to me, it doesn't sound that great. Everything else in the pack, I think, sounds great. And the actual sample itself sounds good. I just wish there was a little more dynamics to it. So I'm just going to play around with a couple of percussion patches and just sort of start adding to this. All right, so now I'm going to add the cinematic percussion pack. We're going to start with our low hits. All right, now we're going to do our high hits. All right, so now I'm going to add cymbals. All right, so I'm going to record separately a cymbal swell. And I'm actually going to bounce this in place just because it's the only hit that I actually need. And I'd rather not use a bunch of CPU just to load one sample. Let's take a listen. All right, so one thing I'm going to do to add kind of a dramatic take at the end of the track, I'm going to slow my tempo down from this last bar in like the main action sequence right to when it just drops everything. So I'm going to drop that tempo down pretty dramatically. Let's see what that sounds like. I think the dynamics of all the cello hits can be improved a little. So I'm just going to select them all, go to functions, MIDI transform. We're going to do a random velocity, but we're going to set the parameters really low. So it's going to be between like 40 and let's just say 55. And I accidentally just did it for everything. Let's go back. Operate only. That's what I meant to hit. All right, so let's hear what that sounds like. And I think we're going to want this to be much softer. So now we are going to go ahead and mix it real quick. I mentioned in the last video that there's a secret that I use. Well, it's not really a secret, but mixing in mono is one of the greatest things that I just discovered not too long ago. Basically what it does, it takes everything, jumbles it into one mono track. And what that allows us to do is to hear everything together. And when we hear everything together, we hear the ugly. We hear what doesn't blend right. Mixing in stereo is kind of like lying, because everything already feels like it's spread out and separated. But when we check our track in mono, we listen to it on our phone, it doesn't sound right. So by putting it in mono, you can easily hear what's competing with what. So I'm going to start with the deep strings because that's kind of the loudest thing of the whole mix. Right now on my Apollo, I'm at 1.5 notches, which is extremely quiet. When we bring it down, it requires us to focus more and to listen. So for you guys, it's going to be the same volume. For me, it's very quiet. All right, so now that we mixed everything in mono, if you're listening to this on headphones or professional speakers, I'm going to show you, and I'm confidently saying this, how clear mixing in mono gets you. So this is the mix in mono. And let's bring it into stereo. Ready? Mixing in mono has not let me down yet, so go ahead, give it a try. I'm telling you, it'll help you with mixing so much. So just for time's sake, I'm gonna do a quick master using the Master Desk by Brainworks. Now again, since I am mastering this, I'm gonna try to bring it up to normal sound levels. So the song is about to get louder. All right, so I think that's a good place to end. I'll probably end up building onto this song more in the future, but I really just wanted to start with an initial demo. So I called this piece The Wind Blows. Let's listen to it. I hope you enjoy it. So I think listening back to this track, I really love the melody and the change that happens right around here. However, I think I kind of ignored a transition into that. So we probably could have brought like a cymbal swell into it, maybe built it up with a different instrument and then dropped it out a little more. But overall, I really enjoyed making this track. I genuinely hope you guys enjoyed the making of this video. I personally love making this cinematic orchestral music that just feels like there's a story to it. I'm definitely an amateur in this field right now because I've only been making orchestral music for the past couple months really. But again, you don't have to have a background in orchestral to make orchestral. Just make whatever you think sounds good. So thank you guys so much again for watching this video. Again, if you need custom composition work, mixing, mastering, instrumentation, whatever it may be, see the form in the description. Send me your project. I'd love to work on it. But thank you guys so much again for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace.